Welcome back to another episode of Book Central Inside the Pages. I'm your host, Abbie, and today we have a special treat for all you poetry enthusiasts out there. Joining us is the talented poet and author, Samantha Smith. Samantha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Abbie. It's great to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. Let's dive right in. You've been writing poetry for a long time. What initially drew you to this art form? Was there a particular moment or piece of writing that inspired you to pursue poetry?
I've always been captivated by the power of words. From a young age, I found solace and expression in reading and writing. There wasn't a single moment, but rather a collection of experiences. I remember reading Emily Dickinson and feeling a profound connection to her words. Poetry, for me, is a way to distill complex emotions and experiences into something beautiful and accessible. It's like painting with words. The ability to convey so much in such a compact form fascinated me and still does.
That's a wonderful analogy. Now, let's talk about the craft of poetry. What do you think makes a poem truly resonate with readers? Is it the choice of words, the rhythm, or something else entirely?
A poem resonates when it speaks to the reader on a personal level. It's about creating a connection through vivid imagery, strong emotions, and, sometimes, a touch of vulnerability. Clarity is also crucial. The reader should be able to understand the essence of the poem, even if it's led with metaphor and symbolism. The choice of words, rhythm, and structure all play significant roles, but at the heart of it, a good poem feels authentic. It should evoke a response, whether it's a smile, a tear, or a moment of reflection.
Absolutely. Clarity and connection are key. Could you share an example of a poem that does this well? What elements within it create that connection you mentioned?
Sure. One of my favorites is Mary Oliver's Wild Geese. It begins with, "You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves." Oliver's language is simple yet profound. She immediately connects with the reader by offering reassurance and acceptance. The imagery of the soft animal of your body is both unique and evocative. It's a masterful blend of simplicity and depth. This opening lines create an intimate dialogue with the reader, breaking down barriers and inviting them into a space of self-acceptance and freedom. It's powerful because it feels personal and direct.
That's beautiful. What makes it stand out to you? Is it the simplicity, the imagery, or the underlying message?
It's a combination of all those elements. Oliver's use of language is deceptively simple, yet each word is carefully chosen to convey a deep sense of empathy and understanding. The imagery of the soft animal of your body is unique, providing a fresh perspective on self-acceptance. The underlying message of the poem is universal acceptance and self-love, but it's presented in a way that feels intimate and personal. This balance of simplicity and depth is what makes it resonate so strongly with readers.
Now, on the flip side, what about an example of poetry that misses the mark? What should aspiring poets avoid?
A common pitfall is being overly abstract or vague. Here's a quick example of what I mean. Endless skies of eternal light, mystic dreams in the endless night, love and hope in hearts alight, shadows fade in morning bright. While it sounds pretty, it feels a bit hollow. It's pleasant enough, but it lacks specificity and a strong emotional core. The images are cliché and don't offer anything new or personal. Aspiring poets should avoid falling into the trap of using grandiose but empty language. It's important to dig deeper and find unique ways to express universal themes. Poetry should evoke a feeling or image that is fresh and meaningful.
It does sound nice but feels somewhat empty. Can you elaborate on why that is? What elements are missing that could make it more impactful?
Certainly. The poem I shared uses broad, sweeping imagery that is common and overused. Terms like endless skies, eternal light, and mystic dreams are vague and lack specificity. they don't provide a concrete image or a personal connection. Effective poetry often includes specific details that ground the reader in a particular moment or feeling. It's these details that make the emotions and imagery real and relatable. The absence of a strong emotional core also makes it difficult for readers to connect with the poem on a deeper level.
That's excellent advice. So, for our listeners who are eager to start writing poetry, where should they begin? What are the first steps they should take to develop their skills?
Start with observation. Pay attention to the world around you and your own inner life. Write about what moves you, even if it seems mundane. Keeping a journal can be incredibly helpful. Note down sights, sounds, and feelings that strike you. And read a lot of poetry. Understanding different styles and voices can help you find your own. Experiment with different forms and don't be afraid to play with language. Remember, there are no strict rules in poetry, it's about finding your unique voice.
Great tips. Can you share a simple exercise for beginners? Something that can help them get started and overcome the initial fear of writing?
Certainly. One exercise I love is the 5 senses poem. Pick an object or a scene, and describe it using all 5 senses. What does it look like, sound like, smell like, feel like, and even taste like? This can help you create vivid and grounded imagery. Another exercise is to take a line from a poem you love and use it as a starting point for your own writing. Let your imagination take over and see where it leads you. The key is to start writing without worrying about perfection. Poetry is as much about the process as it is about the final product.
That sounds like a fun and insightful exercise. Samantha, before we wrap up, can you tell us about any upcoming projects or where our listeners can find more of your work?
I'm currently working on a new collection of poems focused on nature and human connection. It's been a deeply personal project, and I'm excited to share it soon. You can find more of my work on my website, samanthasmitteachpoetry.com, and on social media at @SamanthaPoetry. I also conduct online workshops, which are a great way for aspiring poets to hone their skills in a supportive environment.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today, Samantha. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Abbie. I've enjoyed our conversation.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Book Central Inside the Pages. Keep reading, keep writing, and if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next week.